didn't see you. Just reading up on World War II. Come join me, let's sit down and talk about it. Hello. Today we'll be discussing the major events that occurred during World War II. But let's start from the beginning. After World War I, many countries tried to seek peace through agreements with other countries. One of these treaties, the Washington Naval Treaty, attempted to prevent a naval arms race by limiting the production of ships a country could make. Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the Soviet Union, and 55 other nations agreed to this treaty. But not all treaties went this smoothly. The League of Nations was ineffective and left Germany in ruins, causing the German people to lay their trust in Adolf Hitler. Once Hitler took power, he began his rearmament, a policy to rearm Germany, which was in direct violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Germany withdrew from the League of Nations. Hitler began to build up Germany's army and navy. He did this because he wanted revenge and to control Europe, along with the rest of the world. Germany invaded Rhineland, annexed Austria, and seized the northern region of Czechoslovakia. Italy, Britain, and France made the Munich Pact with Germany, saying that they can keep the land they have but cannot expand. Germany broke this pact and gained control of the rest of Czechoslovakia. They also invaded Poland, France, and the Soviet Union. Germany had gained control of all continental Europe, besides Britain.
The U.S. tried to remain neutral throughout the beginning stages of the war. The U.S. initiated neutrality laws, banning the selling of weapons and loaning of money to what the U.S. deemed as belligerent nations. The fear of not being prepared to enter the war resulted in these laws being lifted. Then in 1941, Congress passed the Land-Lease Act, which allowed the U.S. to lend weapons to allies without forcing them to pay for arms.
Do you want me to read too?
Japan invaded China, French Indonesia, and most of the Pacific. The U.S. cut off supplies of scrap iron to Japan and cut off their access to the Panama Canal. The U.S. froze Japanese assets in the U.S. and cut off all trade of oil with Japan after they continued to expand through Indochina. Because of this seize in oil trade, Japan was unable to expand their empire due to the lack of oil. Japan decided to attack the U.S. Navy, so the U.S. would not be able to attack Japan when they planned to invade Indonesia and other Pacific islands. They decided to attack Pearl Harbor Naval Base in Hawaii.
December 7, 1941, the day Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. Over 2,400 Americans were killed, 340 planes were destroyed or damaged, 18 ships were sunk or damaged. Some of the things that helped America after the attack was that its aircraft carriers were not harmed in the attack. 6 out of 8 American battleships were able to be repaired and used in World War II. Japan was supposed to carry out the attack in 3 waves. The third level of the attack was called off by the Japanese. 33 minutes after the attack, Congress declared war on Japan. Several days after this, Germany declared war on the U.S., and America responded quickly to this declaration.
D-Day was the term used for the landing operations of the Allied invasion of Normandy. This took place on Tuesday, June 6, 1944 at 6:30 a.m.
Shortly after the Pearl Harbor tragedy, Japan wanted to attack America once again. This attack took place on Midway Island. American aircraft carriers were the only things in the way of total Japanese domination of the Pacific. The Japanese devised a plan to destroy the carriers, but American code breakers discovered their plan and successfully ambushed the Japanese ships. The Battle of Midway is widely considered the turning point of the war in the Pacific. The European theater of the war was a huge area of heavy fighting. It started with Germany's invasion of Poland in September of 1939 and spread across Europe until Germany's surrender in 1945.
America created the Office of Price Administration in order to set prices and ration scarce goods. The Office of War Information was created to broadcast the war along with propaganda to encourage patriotism. The National War Labor Board helped transform production militarily. The Manhattan Project was started to build the atom bomb. While men were at war, women worked in factories. Some women served in the Women's Army Corps, a special branch of the Navy called the WAYS, and the Nursing Corps. The U.S. imposed taxes on luxury items to raise money, and the government set up a civil defense system to protect the country from attacks.
Victory in Europe included Mussolini, the Italian dictator's death, Hitler, who committed suicide with his mistress on April 30th, Karl Ponitz, and Joseph Goebbels took power. May 8, 1945, known as VE Day or Victory in Europe Day. This is when Allies formally accepted the unconditional surrender of Nazi forces. The act of military surrender was signed on May 7th in Reims, France, and ratified on May 8th in Berlin, Germany.
U.S. President Harry Truman declared August 15, 1945 as Victory in Japan Day. Japanese government agreed to comply in full with the Potsdam Declaration, which called for the unconditional surrender of Japan. This surrender happened days after the 2 atom bombs were dropped in Japan. Although it is the day that is recognized as the surrender of Japan, General Koizo Kuniaki did not officially surrender until September 2nd.